This week specifically, after Avram Avinu buries his wife Sarah, comes back, he starts to figure out that he has to get a shidduch for his son Yitzchak. He calls over Eliezer, his dear Choshever Eved, who did everything for him, who was in charge of everything, and he said, listen, I need you to make a shvuah. I need you to make an oath. Who to take for my dear son, Yitzchak Avinu. The Pasuk tells us, V'Avram Zokim Bo Bayomim, V'Hashem Beirech As Avram Bakol. The Rabbeinu Shalom blessed Avram Avinu with everything. Avram Avinu had everything he needed. Everything he could ever dream for, everything he could ask for, Avram Avinu had. The Torah goes on, and if you notice this, if you learn Chumash, it's amazing. I was learning with one of the boys, I think it was yesterday, the day before, we were going through Chumash, and he says to me, like, what's going on over here? Pasuk after pasuk after pasuk, telling us every detail about what happened afterwards. Getting the shidduch for Yitzchak, wow. Whether it's important, we get it. But like every intricate detail we need to know. We need to know about absolutely everything, how pages and pages, how Eliezer convinces Lavan, this is a great shidduch, this will be amazing, Yitzchak Avinu. And then, Anes Kvitzis Haderech, something that should have taken 17 days. I came, I arrived, I left. There's this like automatic arrival, even though it should have taken 17 days. We're told pasuk after pasuk after pasuk about like what happened over here. It's just unbelievable. It just goes on and on and on, and the miracles that Eliezer saw, that he wrote down, that he noted, that he told us, that he told Avram when he came back. The nace that happened, shidduch min hashamayim. This must be the shidduch. Look what happened. It's just unbelievable. You know, take for example, Daled Minim. The halach of getting a lulav, esrog, hadassim, and arovas for sukkahs. There's one pasuk in the Torah that tells us what to do. One pasuk. Pre-Eitz, Hodat, Kappas, tomorrow, and whatever. And from there, siman after siman after siman in Shulchan Aruch, telling us, what does it mean, a lulav? How does it have to be? How high? What about the leaves, the tiyomes? What does an esrog look like? How do we know it's an esrog? The Gemara goes on by Riechas. How do we even know Pri-Eitz Hadar is an esrog? We know it's an esrog, we prove it. What does it have to look like? What if it's missing something? What if it's got a blattel? All these different intricate halachos from one pasuk in the Torah. It's amazing. A pasuk in the Torah that's negate to every single one of us, every single yontiv of Sukkos. And yet we have one pasuk in the Torah. So I get it. The Torah is choshev, right? Every word, every letter, every tag. Wow, amazing. Can't waste any words. And yet over here, pasuk after pasuk after pasuk, talking about how did Eliezer get a shidduch for Yitzchak. It's not negay to us. It's not negay l'maisa. There's no simon in Shulchan Aruch that talk about this. What do we need this for? What's the purpose that the Torah goes on and on and on? Can you imagine if we didn't have this? We'd get to the Kiddush Shabbos morning way earlier. The parsha would be half the size. We get to Kiddush and move on. We have to know every detail of the story. It's an unbelievable thing. Says the Gemara. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Sadi Hey Yom Aleph, where the Gemara says, Omer Revacha, Yofa Sichosan Shalav De Ovois Mit Toirosan Shalbonim. Unbelievable thing. How great is the Sikh of the Avdei Ovois. Eliezer, after all, is an Eved Avram. When we went to Hebron, we heard all about it. Moritz and Machpelah, who's down over there, looking after the Ovois. Avad Eliezer's there. We had a Maisa Shahoya, Chesed Avram. We spoke about it over there, but Al Koponim, Chazal tell us, Yofa Sichosan Shal Avdei Ovois. How great is the Sikha, the speech, the conversations of the Avdei Ovois, of just the Avodim of the Ovois. Miteirosan Shalbanim. The Mefarshim ask why? What's so important? What do we need to know? What do we need to know it for? So many tzaddikim I saw speak about this, many different sfarim, different mahalchim. But perhaps we can answer like this. You know, the pasuk tells us that Eliezer, Chazal also explained to us in detail, Eliezer was not just an Eved. The way we say Eved Avram, it's a pasuk, so but like, he wasn't just like a slave. Eliezer wasn't a slave of Avraham Avinu. Eliezer was in charge of everything. He was the Rosh, he was the CEO of everything that Avraham Avinu had the biggest chesed organization, the biggest kiruv organization ever to exist in the world. And Avraham Avinu he was changing the course of Klal Yisrael. Now who is in charge? The person in charge is someone choshev, not just a random guy. This is Eliezer. This is Eliezer, one of the Gedolei Hador. This is Eliezer. Chazal tell us he looked like Avraham Avinu. He didn't just serve him, he looked mamish. He looked like his master, he looked like Avraham Avinu. He was kovesh es Yitzroi, which Chazal tell us is not something simple. Tanya speaks about it by Arichas. To be kovesh your Yetzer Hara, to be able to suppress that feeling, that temptation, those wants, not easy. Eliezer did it. Mamish, something very, very unusual. So here we have Eliezer, this tzaddik hador, godel hador, mamish, kol hador kuloi, big tzaddik. But you know something? Eliezer had a daughter. Eliezer also had a daughter. And his dream would have been for his daughter to marry the son of his master, Avraham Avinu. What a great shidduch! This is amazing! I have a daughter, thinks Eliezer. Now remember, Eliezer is not stam a yid, yeah? Godel hador, Talmud Chacham, unbelievable tzaddik. Now he's got a daughter. Definitely a bas Talmud Chacham. He thinks this is great. I have a daughter. Avraham Avinu has a son. Let's make a shidduch. Let's call it an achayim. This is amazing. But yet, Avraham Avinu had a different shidduch in mind for his daughter. I'm sure Avraham Avinu knew that Eliezer had a daughter. I'm sure he knew that. But Avraham Avinu had a different plan. He had a different plan. So he told Eliezer in this week's parasha, you know what? Go get someone as a shidduch for my son. Knowing full well that Eliezer has a daughter. Now, what does a person do? Let's think about ourselves, right? If we were put in such a situation and we were given a shlichus, a mission to do something, okay? When we really had a personal negia, we had a personal sort of want of our own, you know what? I would have assumed Eliezer would come back and say, Avram, what can I tell you? I tried, I went, I traveled, I did, I looked. I didn't find. Sorry. There's nobody that wants your son. But you know something, I have a daughter and you can make it work. Botch up the slichus. Figure out to make the messenger not happen. It doesn't go, it didn't work. What can I do? Eliezer doesn't do that. Eliezer doesn't do that. You know how hard that must be? You know how hard that must have been for Eliezer? To suppress his own wants and do what his Rebbi said? You know how hard that must have been? That's Eliezer. Avad is Eliezer. The Torah is telling us this week a very important message. The Torah is telling us that Eliezer gave up his own das for the das of his Rebbe. And so much so that the Torah tells us every intricate detail, how it happened, how it went, the nisim that happened, so much so that Eliezer comes back and tells Avram all of the miracles that happened, showing that it's a good shidduch. Why would he do that? You're messing it up for your own self. You're messing it up for your own daughter. Why would you do that? The answer is, Avram is my Rebbe. Avram is my Rebbe. My Rebbe I listen to. Rabbi said there's an amazing message in this week's parasha. And I want to share this message with every one of you because I believe with all my heart that this is one of the foundations of this yeshiva. That this is one of the reasons why this yeshiva was set up. And this is the reason that we are, Baruch Hashem, where we are today. What Eliezer demonstrated in this week's parasha is something that every single one of us need in our lives. No matter your age, no matter your situation, no matter how great you become, and every single one of you will become great in your own personal way. It's irrelevant. One thing you need, and that is to have a Rebbe. Everyone needs a Rebbe. And Eliezer being the Godel Hador, greatest tzaddik, unbelievable Talmud Chacham. He could have paskined his own. It's okay, I'll figure it out. I know this is right. My daughter, Avraham Avinu's son, Yitzchak, boom, great shidduch. No. My das doesn't make a difference. It's not about me. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I think. Even if I've made all the cheshbonis in the world, how this is the right thing, Eliezer understood I have a Rebbe, and my Rebbe tells me what to do. That is the message of this parsha. That's what the Torah is telling us over here. The Mesilas Yesharim famously says, imagine, we'll expound on it a little bit, imagine if you're in one of these real life mazes. You know, you have a maze where you walk in. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, right? You have like big like hedges and like your walls made of flowers and plants, whatever. And you're walking this way and you're walking that way and you have no idea where you are. Imagine if after 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, you're like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm going nuts. I need to get out of here. There's a big voice on a loudspeaker because I have like a tower in the middle and there's someone standing in the middle, the top, and he can see everyone. And people get stuck there for hours. They need to close the doors, and people get stuck there. What are they meant to do? So, there's someone who says, listen, I see that you're stuck. You've gone the completely wrong way. Do me a favor, turn around, make a left, and another left. You'll see you'll get to the entrance. You'll get to the exit. The guy's like, leave it to me. I'll figure it out. I'm okay. Typical man answer. Never to get instructions from somebody else, right? You ever saw this? Okay, maybe you didn't, you're too young. But like if you're sitting in a car, husband and wife, and like they're getting a bit lost. So the wife's like, maybe we should ask someone. The husband, no, I'm good, don't worry, I'll figure it out. I'll do my own thing. Here's a guy who can see the whole maze, he's telling you where to go, he's told you you're going wrong. No, it's okay. And we do that in our own lives. We do that, mamish, in our own lives. We have negias. We see life with our lenses. It's very limited. When we go to a Rebbi, someone who's got more experience in life, someone that's oisek in Torah, someone that has a deeper connection to the Rabbeinu Shalom and has siyata d'shmaya. It's the most unbelievable thing in the world. We have to learn from Eliezer in this week's parasha to mevatel our das, to the das Torah, to the Rebbeim that we have. And like I said, it's irrelevant your age, it's irrelevant your situation. I'm Zoicha Baruch Hashem to have my Rebbeim that I feel so close to. Whenever I have a shayla, I have a suffix, I call my Rebbe. What do I do? What do I go this way? Do I go that way? And you feel so much better afterwards. By the way, in a marriage, one of the most important things in the world. You don't have a Rebbe, what direction are you? Where are you going? The Rebbe is not just sitting in yeshiva to tell you what Gemara to learn. That's beautiful. But also a mahalach hachaim, it's in life. Which direction? What do I do now? Especially in a marriage, when you're dealing with two different people. I hear this from parents of girls all the time. When they call up to ask a shidduch information about a boy in yeshiva, does he have a Rebbe? Is he close to someone? What do you care? It's a difference. The answer is, I want to know if he's got direction. I want to know his mavatal is das to his Rebbe. Does he ask his Rebbe some of the shaylas, but like the other ones he does on his own? Rav Shaiberg, my Rosh Hashiva, used to always tell us. He used to say, people came into the office. You must have heard this before. He comes to the office with a spoon, right? He's got this little spoon, and this spoon, by mistake, went into the chicken soup, and it was a milchik spoon. So he doesn't know what to do. It's a milchik spoon, it went into the chicken soup. Okay, so was it a ben yoimai? Ain't a ben yoimai. Was there shishim? Was there not shishim? Do you go connect that piece that went inside, or do you go with the whole metal? How does it work? You're a day, like, how does it work? And they're busy bothering with Sheinberg, not bothering, but like asking the Rosh Hashiva, what do I do? And Rav Shaiberg used to say, they come to me bothering me about the spoon. They're busy with the spoon, 20 minutes, humbling on the spoon. It's a 20 agarot spoon, I'll buy you a new spoon. But when you have a shayla about should you leave Eretz Yisrael and go back to Chutz La'aretz, or where to put your children in school, or big shaylas, that you'll decide on your own. No, that I'll decide. The 20 agarot spoon, I'll be busy with the Rebbe for 20 minutes to figure it out. Oh, but the big shaylas, that I'll decide on my own. This Rav Shaiberg said it's a big problem. Rabbi say, that's Torah. Having a Rebbe is a chelik of being a Yid. A Rebbe is someone that's got a greater connection. And he got it from his Rebbe, who got it from his Rebbe, who got it from his Rebbe. It's a chain. And you're part of that chain. You have to bite into that incredible link to try to be part of that chain. Rabbi Chatzkel Levenstein one time, the Mashgiach Abonovich, she was invited to serve as the sandik at the bris of the grandson of Rav Shalom Shadron. And when Rav Chatzkel got there, he noticed that the grandfather of the baby, Rav Shalom Shadron, was not there. So he said, where's the Zayda? Where's the grandfather of the baby? So he said, oh no, he's having very, very big pain with his legs. He couldn't make it. His legs are in a lot of pain, and he wasn't able to attend the bris of his grandson. Very sad, but that was the Matthias, fine. About 2 weeks later, approximately 2 weeks later, Rabbi Shalom Shadron had a trip planned abroad to America, fundraising, speaking, whatever it was, giving chizik to Klal Yisrael as he did, and he came to his Rebbe to get a bracha. He came to his Rebbe to ask permission to get a bracha, as you know, that's what people did. Can you imagine? People did that. And he goes there, and Reb Chatzkel looks at him and says, "Oh, I heard you had pain in your legs, and now you're traveling?" End of conversation. Reb Shalom said, "Shkoyach," turned around, came home, told his wife, who was in the middle of packing the suitcase because his flight was soon, when I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Cancelled the trip. She's like, "Hey, what happened? What's going on? What's going on over here? What's the problem? Everything's organized. You have to go. It's an important trip." And he told her, "Well, I'll tell you what the Mashiach said. Mashiach said this. And she said, "Yeah, but your legs don't hurt anymore. Now you're okay. It's fine. I'm not going." "But why?" Reb Shalom said, "Listen, Reb Chatzkel is very well aware that 2 weeks have passed since the bris until today. He knows the bris was 2 weeks ago. My legs were in pain 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. It's finished now. But if he decided to make that remark, I am not going anywhere, and I'm definitely not going anywhere without a bracha for my Rebbe." And he cancelled the trip, which was a massive expense and a big tircha to many others as well. But he decided, if my Rebbe didn't give me permission, if my Rebbe hinted to me that this is not the right thing to do, I'm not doing it. Happened to be, by the way, as Rav Shalom said over the story himself, that he found out afterwards it was a bracha min hashamayim that he didn't go. For whatever reason, it wasn't the right time, the thing that he was going to do didn't happen, whatever. Rav Shalom himself said over the story, and he said, it was gavaldik. I'll tell you one more maisa. I mean, emphasis, there are maisas and maisas about this. But one last maisa. There's an English Gaman who lives in Harnof. Rabbi Yaakov Shwolby. He lives in Harnof, Choshvi Gaman, Koidel, and he davens in the same shul every single morning. He has a chavrusa on the phone, Choshvi Yerushalayim, comes to shul on time, davening on time, whatever. Every so often, sometimes it happens, a big oinus, okay, you come late to davening. It was oinus, something happened, whatever. He didn't manage, happens. So he was very close to Rebbi Zriel Auerbach, who I, Baruch Hashem, had the schos of being very close to, doing shimush by, and Rebbi Zriel Auerbach, one of the Gedolei Poskim. So he asked him the following kasha. He said, "Rebbe, what do I do when I come late to davening? Is it that I skip, because I have the same minyan and I have a phone chavrusa after davening, so I don't want to miss out on my chavrusa afterwards, right? Because learning Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, Torah is the greatest thing in the world. I don't want to miss out on that. So should I skip parts of Pesukah de Zimra in order to make my regular minyan and my chavrusa of learning Torah afterwards? Or is it not right to skip parts of Pesukah de Zimra and I should just go to the next minyan that starts a bit later, but at least I'll start on time?" And Rabbi said, I'm not saying this la halacha la maisa. He did for his situation. There's a follow-up to the maisa, by the way, that he changed. The point is, this is not la halacha la maisa, what I'm telling you, because we've spoken about this before in halacha shir. But the point is for the story. Rebbi Zriel Auerbach told him, you should not skip, you should go to the next minyan. That's what he told him. Yes, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. And I've heard this from Rebbi Zriel many times myself as well. There's no bittul Torah when it comes to tefillah, and therefore davening is choshev. You have to come to davening on time. You come late, you go to the next minyan. So his Rebbe told him that's what he has to do. Now, that's what he does. There's no shilas. One morning, this Yid, Rabbi Yaakov's alarm rang as it always did. He got out of bed, he got dressed, talis and tefillin, as he normally did. He lived right next to the shul, and he walked to shul. He arrived, he realized, I guess my alarm clock, the batteries are a bit schwach. I arrived 5 minutes late. 5 minutes late. No. 5 minutes late is 5 minutes late. I'm not on time for davening. My Rebbe told me that I have to go to davening on time. Don't skip. If I start with this minyan, I'm going to be skipping. I'm not skipping, I'm following my Rebbe. And he went upstairs to a different minyan. A short while later, his life changed forever, because he heard screaming, he heard yelling, he heard shrieks like he never heard before coming from the main shul downstairs that he normally davens in. He didn't know what to do. There was a commotion going on. He ran out of the door, he jumped into somebody else's car, and he went to a nearby yeshiva until it was safe to come out. That was November 18, 2014, the Har Nof massacre when 2 Arab animals walked into a shul in the middle of davening in Rehov Agassi in Har Nof, and unfortunately, Rahman al-Itzlan, Aleinu Aleichem, butchered Kedoshim in the middle of davening with their talis and tefillin on. Rabbi Yaakov's regular seat was on the left-hand side of that shul, which was pretty much where the Arabs got to, and managed, Rahman al-Itzlan, to murder people in that place. If he would have gone to that place in davening, I don't know if he'd be alive today. He's alive today because of one reason. He listened to his Rebbi. There are stories about this from years and hundreds of years ago. Chassidish Shemaises I can give you. Here's a story from not long ago. I remember we were here, many of us were here in Eretz Yisrael, when we heard the police, the ambulances rushing, we realized something was wrong. He's alive because of his Rebbi. Now, it's a normal person who asked a regular shaila and who followed his Rebbe. We may not see those results necessarily, but that's something to remember. And that's what the message of this week's parasha is. Eliezer is telling us. Yes, Eliezer has his own negias. He had his own mahalchim, his own calculations. We all do in our lives. We have our own calculations. I should do this, and if I do this, this will happen. What did your Rebbe say? Did you ask? Did you think about it? This is a shaila for a Rebbe? No, it's not. I don't have a halacha shaila. No. A Rebbe is not only for halacha shaila. A Rebbe is for mahalach hachaim. And as I said to you, one of the purposes of the yeshiva is specifically for that reason. If we can accomplish this, and we give everyone the opportunity to understand what it means to have a Rebbe, to live a life with a Rebbe, it's a different life. It's a different life that can save your life, and it can change your life as well. Shkoyach.